Hello, everybody. We have a special guest in health and wellness today that I'm super stoked about. So, guys, if you don't know her, I'm gonna please go to the show notes and you've got to look up follow her everywhere, go to her website, go to everything, because Stephanie Sacker is a name you do not want to forget. She has so much gems. I have to ask her all these questions about social media because she makes it look so easy when the rest of us find it so hard. And everything is just streamlined and beautiful and on brand. But we're not really here to talk about her social media design. We're here to talk about her. And guys, we're going to learn so much. So if you are driving, make sure you listen to this episode and then listen to it again with a notepad. And if you are listening to it now, have your notes app on your phone out. We've got some knowledge to share. So, Stephanie, welcome to A Side of Syrup podcast. We're thrilled you are here.
Shannon, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. It's so great to be here.
Awesome. Yay. Yay. Well,
and thank you for your kind words. You're too sweet.
Of course. I mean, I with 3 young kids who struggle to go to bed, I often find myself scrolling on my phone. I'm like, oh, she does it right. She does it right on social. But before we get to the point where you have your brand and an amazing company behind it, I'd love to know and tell everybody too, how you got started, how you even got on this path of life, because not everyone gets here, and it's you've started your own business too. So would love to know how you got from A to Z.
Yeah, it's it's more than we have time for, but I'm going to give you the short version. Absolutely. So I have been in wellness for over 20 years, really. It's just kind of it's changed. It's been everything from skincare to essential oils to working for doctors. I've just always been in the wellness field in some capacity. And I guess it was about 50, well, it was about 8 years ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, working in corporate America. I was the superstar employee, let me tell you. And if you told me that I would be where I am today back then, I would have I wouldn't have believed you at all. So I was an employee through and through. There's nothing wrong with that, but I was all about clocking in, clocking out. I was plugged into my phone, my boss, my everything. And at the time, I had a 2-year-old daughter who was in full-time daycare. And so here I am, burning at both ends. My work environment became increasingly more toxic. I was literally, to give you an idea, crying on my way to work. And I would consider myself a pretty resilient person. And so I knew in my gut that I couldn't sustain this for very long, nor was this the life that I wanted. And so anyway, I felt this inner gut, just, you can't do this for very much longer. And what are you going to do? And just to give you an idea, my personality, my character, just who I am, I like a ton of structure. I like, so for me to really even become curious about considering the idea of doing something different or not having a plan was very out of character and atypical for me. So I knew that this inner nudge was something that had some substantial validity. And so, long story short, someone, a Facebook friend, if you will, we all have them, reached out to me and offered some essential oils. And I, in my early 20s, worked in an aromatherapy shop. And so I've always been into natural things. And to be honest with you, when she shared it, I was like, sure, I'll try your oil. You don't need to buy these things. And she's so sweet to send them. I put them on my shelf, and it took me a couple months to actually crack open the bottle. And then I finally did, because I was in such dire stress. And I remember her telling me one of the oils was for stress. So it was the grounding blend. I opened it up, I used it. And I was pretty much like a desperate skeptic, if you can envision that. Someone that's
Yep.
like desperate for change, but really like not believing that this is going to work. And I started using it, and it brought me relief instantly. And so that really opened my eyes to, okay. And I started researching, which led me to eventually partner with.
Oh, hey, Steph. I hit the wrong button. Can you unmute yourself?
There I am. Yeah.
Sorry, I meant to mute myself.
No, no problem. No problem.
Okay, let's
No
just
worries.
pause for just okay, perfect. You're good.
Okay. So I partnered with this essential oil brand, and I literally looked online and I was like, there's an opportunity here to get the heck out of this job.
Mhm.
And I was so excited about it. But guess who wasn't? My husband.
I was gonna say,
I'm
how old
like,
was your daughter at the time?
my daughter was 2.
Mhm.
And to give you an idea, I mean, this is relevant for most moms, I would say, and women in general, where we wear so many different hats. I would like wake up at 5 a.m. to run to the gym, to run home, to shower, to get the baby up, to bathe her, to drop her off at daycare. And it was just one thing after that next, and I was literally burning at both ends. And then on top of that, very stressful work environment with gossip and drama and all the things. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew that it was less about having a plan in place, honestly. And I don't recommend just jumping out without plan. I don't recommend that. I'm not recommending that. Luckily, I've been blessed. My husband has been able to financially, get as I was making this change. I have that blessing. So I don't, I'm telling you right now, I don't recommend just quitting your job. But I knew that I just felt divinely led, and I knew I was going to be taken care of.
Mhm.
And so I made the switch. That's when I made the switch. In 2015, I decided to quit my job, my corporate job, and go on my own. And I've been doing it for the past 8 years now.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, so I'm the opposite of you. I'm not great with structure. I have to like
Hmm.
force myself to do it because I know it's very important.
Hmm.
So for me, like taking a leap is less like, oh, okay, sure. I'll figure this out. But how
Yeah.
did you sort of overcome that really strong part of your personality and your need, which you got in a corporate environment, and like sort of like
Hmm.
trust in your gut of like, I'm going to do this and it's going to work.
It was really, I mean, it was really scary. It was really scary. But I think for me, that discomfort outweighed the fear.
Yeah.
That's really where I was. And again, if I would have had these potential thoughts, or someone had told me just a month prior, like it was the time. And I can't, it's hard to explain, it's hard to put in words, but I just knew that I couldn't physically do it anymore. It was sucking the life out of me. The idea of growing our family, it's either this job or growing my family. Like, hello.
Right.
And so it was more of just me saying, even if it's really, really uncomfortable and I know nothing about this and total uncertainty, I know that it's going to be better for my well being, ironically, now, than doing this. And so it was like a pain pleasure thing. I really had to like get to that place of such extreme discomfort that I wasn't overthinking the next step. I just needed to get the hell out of that office.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah,
you look back at that young woman crying on her way to work and you like want to shake her and be like,
totally. Yep.
you know, there's another way.
Absolutely. 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 And for a long time, I wouldn't even give myself permission, the space, however you want to say it, to even think outside the box. I mean, I was so in the box. And so this was extremely out of my comfort zone.
Totally. Yeah. And I think there's always an expectation. I look back on a personal memory often of I was in New York City and I was in college and I told my parents like I'm going to New York City and they're like, well, you need a job first. And I think I was like a sophomore in college, something like that, pretty young. And I got an internship off of Craigslist, but it was a job and it got me there. But I had to go into offices and honestly rate the cafeterias. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. To like sneak in Goldman Sachs and Times Square. It was a whole thing. Now I look back on it, I'm like, I don't know if it's quite legal. I did get the job off of Craigslist, but it was a job, and I made it to the city. And I remember sitting in a hotel room when my parents came to visit, and I was dressed in like a blue shirt and a black skirt and some like simple heels. And they're like, "This is our dream, for you to work in an office." And even so young and so like just not prepared for the future, I knew like that wasn't it. And
Mm,
there was a different way. I didn't know how to get that way. It took a long time to like, as we all do, have to sort of like work through like what is possible, what we're good at,
absolutely.
what really lights us up. But that never felt right to me. And I think back of like telling that young girl that I was like, there is another way.
Yes.
Just be patient. You'll absolutely know that you can make the change. But I guess then, so you said, okay, I am doing this. I'm leaving my own thing. What did you go and do?
Yes.
We didn't get to really specifically talk
So,
about that yet.
I've always been in wellness. My stepping stone was partnering with an essential oil brand that's very well known, and that's kind of how I started what has now morphed into wellness coaching.
Mhm.
And so I've always been passionate about working one on one with women. I've always been passionate about, I'm open and I've always loved the idea of taking a natural approach to healthcare. And so it kind of just morphed into working one on one with women and really, I guess, I mean, I was in my late 20s at the time. So, a lot happens through your 30s into your 40s, a lot
Yes.
of awareness and awakening and all the things. So now, fast forward, I can see that this is my mission, that I've always been, I'm here to connect with women, to help women, to support women, to guide women to step into their greatness. Although back then, I needed some steps in between. I needed some humbling, I needed some growth, some personal development. And now I can say, I'm clear. But back then, I just needed reprieve. But yeah, so I started my wellness coaching business, and that's really working with women is what I do now.
Amazing. Yeah, I think I have chuckled a little bit from time to time of getting approached by really, really young alumni of my college of like wanting to get into wellness. And they're like, I want to help, new moms. And I'm like, it's a whole different life stage you kind of have to go through.
Right.
And then you can help. But I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
going to take your advice if you haven't been through it and have some perspective.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And it's just wonderful to hear of, the words you're using. You're not helping people off a ledge. You're really helping people figure things out for themselves that's already there, like the magic inside of them. It's just
100%.
a little untapped.
Yeah, exactly. No, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly that is my passion, that is my goal, that is my vision always with my clients is I'm not giving them anything that they don't already have within them.
Mhm,
And it's amazing how many women, and myself included at one time, and it's not perfect, there,
mhm.
no one is,
Yeah.
but I'm still shocked at how many women from the outside, it's like they have their Peloton bike in their garage and they're eating healthy and they're doing all the things, but they don't take time consistently throughout their day to even check
Mhm,
in with their emotions. I mean, we're running, we're we're being pulled in a million different directions, which is why, and it really takes some effort. And that's where I go back to intentional living. It's all about
mhm.
intention. And without actually putting thought into checking in, like, how is Stephanie feeling right now?
Yeah.
And why is she feeling this way? And what can I do to get her to a feel good place? And I think a lot of times people are focused on feeling better,
Mhm.
which indicates that you were feeling bad
Right.
instead of thriving. I mean, there's some steps there, right? You don't just go from feeling horrible to thriving, but
Mhm.
you'd be surprised how some intentional steps in your everyday life can really transform a lot in your daily experience without,
Mhm.
without owning your own business, without having your own schedule. Even if you are,
Mhm.
working in an office, there's still so many, tips and tricks that you can take
Mhm.
and make to really benefit your experience daily and feel taken care of.
For sure, and sometimes it's the smallest things, like
Mm,
drinking water. There's so many
yes,
of us out there who just don't drink water, and it's such a baseline of what our body needs, but, like,
absolutely.
having water reminders or setting time on your calendar and, like, little things, and you start to feel better, and that
Hmm.
opens your way to adding other things to the mix, and then you're
Absolutely.
freeing up space and you're freeing up headspace and you know that that giving back to yourself in a way your body needs it is a good thing.
Hmm.
The habits sort of stack on each other, which is awesome to see. And I know that you have a really specific method, and you're working in a group coaching and other ways, but I'd love to hear more about like your approach,
Yeah.
and sort of how you tackle this for women.
Absolutely. So, my approach is really a 360-degree approach to wellness, if you will, because wellness is such a broad category. It could mean so many different things. And so, my signature program, which is called Alignment and Flow, is a 12-week program. So, I work 3 months at a time, one on one with my clients. And we meet weekly. It's all done virtually. So, super convenient, 60 minutes, about an hour a week. And we really it's a combination of application and integration. So there is a ton of content. Each week we cover a different topic ranging from, the basics. You think about health coaching and wellness coaching and you think about like what does that look like? It's diet and exercise. But it's so much more than that. I mean,
Mm.
again, getting back to my point, a lot of times women will come in and they have a very healthy lifestyle. They exercise, they eat right, and yet they haven't even taken the time to think about how they're feeling or what
Mhm.
that they have the ability to breathe or
Right, right.
it's the little things and really tapping into that and biohacking to really up level your experience because that's what we really want. We have so much more to give everyone in our lives if we're happy, and it doesn't mean that we don't have bad days. It doesn't mean that I'm saying, you know you're never going to be upset. That's not realistic, nor is it healthy. However, the goal is to walk my clients through the process of transforming their body, mind, and soul truly. And
Mhm.
so much of our wellness is driven from mindset. And if we are not aware of where we're at and how we can up level that, everything else is going to follow and go to the wayside and go downhill from there. So the goal is to empower women to really fill their toolbox, if you will, with
Mhm.
tips and tricks to get through their day and really feel amazing. I mean,
Right.
it's really it's a combination though. It's really application and integration is the most clear way to put it because we do
Mhm.
cover a lot of content and educational insights that a lot of my clients don't have that I can help provide. But again, it's not me giving anything to them. It's walking them through this process and offering, opening up their eyes to what they already have inside them and how they can start implementing what they already have.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, do you often get women coming to you? Because I think of so many examples of, I was once this person myself of, working out 6 times a week, eating
Mm,
well, getting, healthy meals delivered. I think I
hmm.
did like whatever, Thistle, Sakara Life, whatever those, any of
Yeah.
those, you know, seem to balance it and manage it all. But similar to you crying in the car, definitely crying in an office building staircase. Um, but not knowing where to start and not knowing if I even had time to make the change. Like, how do you
Mm.
deal with someone who's like interested, but like can't I
Right.
guess can't move forward.
Yeah, I think that that's a very it's a big deal because a lot of us are thinking like it's one more commitment. You know,
Mhm.
how the hell can we get
Yeah.
can we say yes to
Yeah.
one more thing? Like it's not possible. Like we're sustaining what we can't do anymore. And really to answer your question, I like to start small. So, with my clients, kind of the process, I start them with an exercise called Wheel of Wellness, and I let
Mhm.
them assess every area of their life. Okay. So,
Mm.
separate to just diet and exercise, like literally looking, just totally looking very closely into, their health, their career, their relationships, the categories that really matter. And they rate themselves on, from 1 to 10, where they think they are. And that really sets a great foundation for us to kind of move in the right direction. But again, starting small is the best step. So
Mhm.
let's say I have a potential client that is inquiring and they don't know if it's a fit for them and they're just asking questions. I will guide them to start with maximizing little pockets of their day. And this is something that I can share with your listeners too. It's a tip that they can take with them is just we all feel like we don't have any time in the day,
Yeah.
yet we do have a good amount of time that we don't realize is passing by. And they might be little pockets of time. Maybe it's 10, 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there. But if we are, again, you're going to get sick of this word by the time we're done,
Mhm.
intentional. If you are super intentional and thinking about your well being within that busy schedule, and I don't like the word busy, your productive schedule, you can really make a lot happen. So, for example, many of my clients are, very high functioning, women that are, business owners themselves. They're here, they're there. And so I asked them, give me a rundown of your daily schedule. And I can kind of give you an idea of my schedule and how I maximize my day and squeeze in pockets of, exercise. I just was so, you mentioned working out 6 days a week and eating healthy. I feel like we just overcomplicate so much,
Right.
and
Right.
I am a big proponent of exercising and eating healthy, no question. But it doesn't always need to look a certain way. So, there was in the past, it was like, well, if I couldn't go to Pilates for an hour or I couldn't go to hot yoga at this place at this time, it wasn't happening. Well, that's not realistic, especially when you know, you've got you're wearing multiple hats, you're spinning multiple plates, however you want to put it, and you're a mom and busy, and so I recommend just moving your body. Like go back to the basics and keep it simple. Like you had mentioned, Shannon, drinking water. Like that's a game changer. And it's you see it, you hear it, you see it on every meme, it's on everything, but we still don't do enough of it. And so those little tips and those little tweaks make such a world of difference. And that's really, you know, what I do is just reminding women to go back to the basics and it's not going to look perfect. Don't have expectations of it has to look this way because moving your body doesn't know the difference. Yes, for sure. If we're doing a high intensity training workout, which I love, I work out for 30 minutes in my backyard or in my room or wherever I can do it. I don't but there were times when if it wasn't perfect in a studio with my the perfect instructor, like I just wasn't going. And just remember that your body is benefiting from any movement. I don't care if you're walking your dog,
Right.
you know
Right.
or running a marathon.
True. True. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that, you know, there are, it doesn't have to be like, this is what I used to do and this is what I will always do. Like,
Mm,
there's the evolution of priorities and, you know,
yes.
just all of that because I was the half marathon person before and marathon person before kids and now it's not really the season of life and that's okay but it took honestly some tears to to realize like this is not the season of life, but I still can. Like I can do an app, a Pilates app on my phone. There's different ways to still sort of like feed that need. And I really love what you were talking about of like finding the time, because it's so easy to let important things really
Mm,
get out of focus for us because we're doing quote unquote important things.
yeah.
But simple things like turning off social media notifications on your phone, like you don't need to see who's liked your photo or
Hmm.
who's messaged, because that sort of
Yes.
like sucks you back into the world of your phone and life there versus, I just wasted 20 minutes looking at Courtney and everything she's been doing.
Yes.
um,
100%.
and it's
Yes.
like, no, I actually could have used that time to journal or to meditate or
Yeah,
something to move me forward.
absolutely. And I think, you know, what is important to remember is just the act of choosing is self care. Like, I love a hot soak, I love a hot bath, but it doesn't always have to be a bubble bath. It doesn't always have to be going to the spa. Like, self care is so simple. And I mean, I soak up so much self care throughout my day, and I'm not sitting on my couch eating bonbons. Like, I'm getting stuff done, and I'm very efficient with my time. But I prioritize those little pockets like they are gold. My kids know.
Mhm. Mhm. 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't and none of this is about being selfish. It's about
No.
taking care of yourself, because so many of us women really truly put everyone else first, and then we're exhausted and we're tired and we're like, we're just,
Hmm.
a cup of coffee, it's going to get me through.
Yeah.
But really taking care of yourself in small ways and noticeable ways to yourself will be big
Hmm.
changes to everybody else in time.
100%. Yeah. And I think that it's choosing to turn off the phone. It's choosing to put it on do not disturb. It's choosing to prioritize your water if you need an app to remind you. Like, that's not silly. Like, it's whatever works. Like, do you and get it done and prioritize your health. And, going to bed at 9 p.m., like, that is self-care. Not agonizing and shaming yourself for not getting 8 hours the night before. Just doing better and just making it known. And there's something really powerful about committing to ourselves and prioritizing ourselves, because the benefit of getting 8 hours of sleep or drinking water or turning off your blue light on your phone and all the things that we're talking about, yes, you will directly benefit, absolutely, and so will everyone else in your life. But what you're really doing is you're believing yourself. We don't want to lie to ourselves. We don't want to say we're going to go, sign up for this class tomorrow at 6 a.m., yet we don't set our alarm, we have no intention of going, and then we feel like icky the next morning because we lied to ourselves. And so this is something that's really, really powerful and profound, and I think overlooked, is those little promises that we make to ourselves, even if it is just 60 ounces of water, or, like we've talked about, the bite-sized beneficial things that we could do that are free, that we can do daily. Every time we say we're going to do it and we follow through even one day, that's self-care. That's a benefit. That's us believing that we matter and we are prioritizing ourselves, and not just this, walking around thinking we have a purple heart saying we're, burning at both ends and we're exhausted. But I'm a nightmare. If I don't take care of myself, like, I'll be honest, like, you do not want to live in my house. Let me just tell you. I'll be honest.
But it's so true. It's so
Yeah.
true. It just even, it doesn't have to take up a lot of time. It doesn't have to require a lot of effort. It's more about the consistency.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And consistency, and that's where, working one on one with my clients really, it takes it to the next level, because, you know, it's amazing how a little guidance, support, and accountability moves the dial for women, for people in general. And and so that's what it is. It's the consistency, meeting each week, checking in. And, I'm never, although I have my, alignment and flow program, and the format is in place, I customize my program for each individual client, because one client is like literally looking to train for a marathon, and one is like stoked to walk 30 minutes a day, and everyone is different, and that's okay. It's not just, I like to drive home, like, I'm not just telling people work out, eat this. It's not that kind of program. It's really, you come in, and when you leave, you're a new woman. You're not going to recognize the woman that you came in. And a lot of that is, even spiritual and emotional evolution too, not just the physical.
That is a promise that I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
And then is there a way to keep working with you after the program is done?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my one-on-one clients, usually, branch out and do more of a group coaching. I also offer my one-on-one clients like follow-up visits. So if they want to do like a month out just as a check-in, and they can continue to work with me. I love, it's not like I just, part ways with my clients. They're lifelong. They become family, really. But yeah, they can definitely choose the group coaching option as a way to stay in the community and still have support, just not as hands on.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Because I'm like, if people are getting this dramatic transformations,
Yes.
I wouldn't want to quit. I
I
would
know. I know.
want
It's
to keep
like people are like, "What
going.
am I going to do with you? What am I going to do next week when we're done?" I'm like, "We're not
Yeah.
done. Don't worry."
Perfect, perfect. So absolutely love that. And guys, in the show notes we will have how to work with Stephanie, how to sign up, exactly where to follow her, and so when programs will be launching, programs will be a fit for you. I mean, sign me up. I think especially after the rainy times we've had here in LA over the weekend, rain and snow.
I know.
Yeah, that I think we're all kind of in this mindset of like, okay, like seasons are changing. Let's make some changes around
Yes.
here. So it's a perfect time to have you on the podcast.
Yes.
But I would love to know also from you, you are someone who's changed their life. You're a mama, like you own your own business. How do you like lead by example, in with your friends, your family, for yourself? What do
Yeah.
you do to take care of yourself?
Yeah. So, similar to what we discussed earlier about the pockets of time. Well, for starters, I'll give you some tactile, what I actually do. So in the morning, my morning ritual, my morning routine is what I treat like gold. And I have a 6 and 9-year-old, two daughters, and they have tried to test it, and they know Mama is not budging. She is serious. You encroach on my morning time. And this was a game changer for me, because for many years I did not do that. It just kind of, you pick up your phone, you get sucked into emails, and before you know it, you're sending the kids to school, and you're like, what the hell happened to my morning? Like, who am I? Where am I? I need to ground myself. And so my morning, I typically wake up around 5:30, and I take from 5:30 to 7 to journal, to meditate, to read, whatever I feel I need in that moment. But it's really a check in for me and my time, where no one is interrupting me, and I am in my space and in my zone. And by doing that, I have also had mornings when I have not done it because, things have come up. We got lifed, or whatever you want to, however it goes down. And I am a different person. Like, I am truly a different person from the second I, start the day. If I haven't had that morning grounding, it just feels like I'm on autopilot, and it feels really icky, and I don't feel like I'm my best self. So
Right.
starts with the morning routine for sure, is something that I do. And then, take the kids to school. And then when I get back, I do my long walk. I am all about maximizing time. If you haven't noticed, So when I get back and I need to walk the dog, so the dog needs a walk, I need exercise. I want some vitamin D. I want to fill my ear with some inspiring messaging, whether it's a podcast like yours or, a book on audio. But like, how many things can we do in those 30 minutes? Like, how awesome is that? I'm inspired with what I'm listening to. I'm getting vitamin D, which is amazing for our immune system. Sunshine feels good. Dog's getting exercise. I'm a new woman. So I get home, do a little quick workout. And if I don't, so what? I walked. I'm good. And I start my day with coaching clients. And then in the middle of my day, if I have 15 minutes, I'm going outside or 30 minutes, I'm going to go eat my lunch in the sunshine. Like, I'm very intentional with this. And so we can make those choices. Like, I could sit at my desk, plugged into the computer while I'm eating, or I can remove myself, change my environment. I am a firm believer of changing our state. So whether that's listening to music, and that could be, listening to music that totally hypes me up and gets me energized, or like peaceful piano because I feel like I'm going to lose my, what.
Mhm.
So just like all over the map and in between. And then with my daughters, it's a big deal because they see me making healthy choices to nourish my body. They see me prioritizing my self care, my exercise. In as much as part of them like does not like my morning time, they see it and they model it and they respect it. And I want them to know that that's available for themselves too. Um, and then, as far as parenting goes too, again, wellness is not just the physical. So the emotional, walking, my daughter Sage is 9, she's in 4th grade, and I can't even tell you how much drama there is in 4th grade. I had no idea what I was in for. I felt like it was a little bit later than that for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a lot of drama in 4th grade. And so, but she'll talk through them. And this was something that my parents just never held space for me in this arena. They never talked about, just like suck it up, buttercup. And you carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, and it might not be a big deal to an adult, but it is a big deal when you're there and you're 9 and all the things. So, getting back to this topic is how I model is having the discussions with my daughter to, again, give her permission to listen to her gut and set healthy boundaries. And so wellness, it definitely applies to relationships and social wellness as well. So that too, and just, that's a big deal. I mean, big part of it is talking through her issues and problems, and how can she prioritize her feelings and not get lost in the people pleasing shuffle that we sometimes do.
Already.
Yeah.
My daughter is 1, so I have some time, but probably not much time.
Oh my gosh, Shannon, I was shocked. I'm like, no, 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 no. She's already like, don't give me a kiss at drop off. I'm like, what?
Gosh, oh my gosh. No, no. No, don't tell me these things.
Maybe there's hope. Maybe it's just her.
No, it's all of them. We're growing up too quick. But I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
I I think there's some peace of waking up early in the morning before everyone else is up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Big time.
yeah, and just to sort of savor that moment and make it you time. I think that's something I personally would love to as a takeaway because it's it's so clear-headed without any chaos going on in the house. And,
Mhm.
whatever that time is used for everyone, it's a way to start the day where you sort of feel ahead of things versus behind.
Yeah, and I think that there's so many things to fill our time with, right? You could sit in front of your emails and or you could scroll and look at cat video. I mean, you
Yep.
could do anything. But
Yeah.
there's so many options, too many options. And there's, like you said, something really powerful about being up early in the morning when you know the world, except Stephanie and Shannon after this podcast, are awake, and nothing, nothing needs to be done right now. People are not going anywhere. People are sleeping. People are, doing their own thing in their house, and it's that it's so crazy that we've gotten to this place, but it's true. It's like there's something really peaceful knowing that I don't have anyone to catch up with
Yep.
or anything to respond to, and it's just whatever I fill that time with, and making that time for yourself. It doesn't matter if you sit there and sip coffee and do nothing else or tea or whatever. But I think this again, I talked about pain and pleasure. It's a big deal with a lot of choices that we make, even if it's like a piece of cake, it's like, okay, this cake tastes good, but how am I going to feel in 30 minutes?
Right.
And I'm all about like treating yourself. I'm not like, moderation, everything in moderation. But I don't feel good after that. So I can tell myself before I take that bite, I'm probably going to feel like crap after. So that's motivation for me to say, no, I'd rather make a healthier choice. Same goes for the morning. I think there's this idea that like, oh, I just can't wake up though. I just need more sleep.
Mhm.
But then when you start waking up earlier, guess what you do naturally? You go to bed earlier because you're tired and you don't want to scroll and it's a priority. And again, going back to that choice of those simple choices are a form of self care. And so, it's like you can either feel like, oh, I've tried, but I just can't wake up, or I get to wake up and fill my cup. Like, how amazing is that? And it's motivation and it benefits. I've had women that I've challenged just a week, just try it for 7 days, even for your listeners. Just if you don't wake up early, I encourage, you to wake up, just wake up a little bit earlier. It doesn't need to be a lot earlier, just 30 minutes and devote that to whatever you want to prioritize for yourself. And I guarantee you will notice a difference within a week.
Totally, totally. I
Yeah.
stand by that. It's something that you remind me. I used to actually do it, and then it all
Hmm.
fell off. And I have brought it up recently to my husband of like, you know what, I should, 5:30. I like at 5:30. Like I should get up then. And he's like, but if you could have more sleep, isn't that better for you? And I'm like,
Hmm.
in a way, yes. If I stayed up later, I'm watching a show or something, and stayed up
Hmm.
a little, watched one too many episodes than I should be, then yes, maybe sleep is better. But there's just this feeling of like I've already got my win for the day if I've done this thing for myself first, or
Yes.
gotten ahead of it in some way. It's such a good feeling. And yeah, I agree, guys. If you're listening right now and you don't think you can do it, you totally can. And join Steph and me. We can
Yes.
okay, I can start doing this tomorrow and be the only ones up, and don't feel the need to do anything except for what you need to do for you.
Yeah.
And
And
check
there's
it
always
out.
going to be exceptions to the rule. Sorry, Shannon, for
Oh,
there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. If you absolutely couldn't get to bed till 2 in the morning, like don't wake up at 5,
yeah,
obviously.
please
And,
don't.
there's going to be times where prioritizing your sleep is important, but the goal is you're not going to be binge watching because your priority is waking up and filling your cup. And I think the big thing too is it's not a you should wake up. I'm not a big fan of shoulds. It's you will just totally revolutionize your day and how you approach your day just simply by prioritizing waking up early. Again, it's not prioritizing to wake up early to clean your house. It's not to do laundry. It's not to do the life sucking things that we do. It's to do something that fills your cup. So it's a reward.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, this is a really good segue into my last question. And it's the question I ask
Yeah.
every single guest on this podcast. If you had a button that could be with you at all times, day or night, rain or shine, and you could press this button and it could do just one thing for you, what would that button do?
Yes, it is a perfect segue because we're going to go right back to my morning machine. It would be a button that would launch me to my cozy front room in my house on my cozy couch, looking out my window with the trees and in my zone, no one interrupting. I have coffee, I'm sitting there and I'm just reflecting and doing my journaling. Yeah, reflection time is my favorite place. And I'm very much an extrovert, but I need to recharge. And that that time is golden. So that would be mine. A launch to my cozy couch.
Oh, that sounds lovely right now. Uh, awesome. Well, Stephanie, thank you again so much for joining me and everybody today on the podcast. I I said it again, but I will put everything in the show notes so everyone knows how to reach you, how to sign up for your incredible and life-changing group program and coaching programs. Guys, like run, don't walk, to check stuff out. Thank you. Thank you for your time and sharing just your wisdom. It's so
Thank you so
appreciated.
much, Shannon, for having me. Thank you so, so much. It's been great.
Awesome. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.